Good evening, everybody. It is day 42 of our Minute Bible Verses. So today we're going to be in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verses 10 through 12. And it says, Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. And as goods increase, so do those who consume them. And what benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them? The sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. So, the background on this verse is Ecclesiastes was written by King Solomon, who is the son of King David. Same David as like David and Goliath. So, King Solomon is considered one of the wisest, one of the most well-spoken and honored people in the Old Testament. Ironically, though, he's also considered one of the most hypocritical, because a lot of the things that he wrote about and preached about and shared wisdom about, he kind of contradicted in his actions. So here he's talking about basically not being greedy, not lusting after wealth. However, he accumulated a lot of wealth and status and was greedy over it as well. He also was the same king who had hundreds of wives and did some questionable things with his actions, which I think is actually really interesting, because I think it shows us in like real examples of how we struggle with our humanity and being beings that kind of lust after our fleshly wants, which is really interesting. And I mean, you take King Solomon, who's considered one of the wisest, has some of the greatest writings of the Old Testament, and he too struggled with the same things that you and I struggle with, which I think is kind of cool in a sense, because I think it kind of brings that humility that even these great figures in the Bible, they struggled with the same things that we did, with the one solution or the one thing to fix it all was Jesus and God. So that's the background. So breaking it down, verse 10 says, Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. So I think as beings created by God and coming from a creator, we were made in his image. I've kind of talked about this in previous Bible studies or verses, but we are spiritual beings. Whether you're religious or not, or you believe in God or not, I truly believe that all humans have a spiritual want. And those of us that can fill that want with Jesus and love for God, we do not need to fill it with other things. We're okay with less. No, it's not something that it's just, snap of a finger. You don't want things or need things anymore. It's a constant battle that you're fighting your whole life. But the more you fill your life with Jesus, the more you kind of realize you don't need other things. You don't need to make $100,000 a year. You don't need the nicest car. You don't need the biggest house. God provides what we need. But those of us, or those people that do not have Jesus in their heart and are not believers, they still have this deep want, this deep spiritual want, and they try to fill it with these material things, wealth, drugs, sex, whatever they can try to fill it with. And that's where I think we see a lot of sin come in, is trying to fill that void that Jesus could easily fill. So I think that's 10 is talking about when we want wealth and we're not filling that void with Jesus, we're throwing water into an abyss. We're never going to fill this want. And it says, as it goes on, 11, as goods increase, so do those who consume them. And what benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them? Saying the same thing, as the more you are producing, the more wealth that you are acquiring, the more you're going to want. there's no end to that need or that greed. And then lastly, 12, the sleep of a laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. So the sleep of a laborer is sweet. This is referring to the sleep of basically the want of a Christian follower. Whether we make a lot of money or we don't make a lot of money, or we get everything we want or we don't get everything we want, if you put Jesus first in your life, that'll fill any void that you have, any shortcomings you have in your life. And you don't need to worry about all that other stuff. You can sleep soundly at night knowing that you have what you need. Tomorrow you're going to wake up and have your needs fulfilled, no matter how much money you have. Versus a rich person, if they're constantly wanting more, constantly needing more, that's where you see that anxiety, that depression, that greed come in more. Because you're just trying to fill this void that is incapable of being filled. So I think that kind of covers what I wanted to talk about in this one. I hope you all have a good night. So, good night.